Hey, what's up, everybody? Here we are again with another video. So, somebody suggested this video. Something you all might not know about me. I'm actually an aspiring author, actually. Um, you heard some of what I wrote in the earlier video. I'm still working on that, and but really, my real writing style is technically, I prefer like mystery, whether it be regular mystery, like crime mystery, supernatural mystery, and I have characters that fit with all of those types of typical mystery. Um, I've been writing for probably about shit. I started really writing stories when I was like, I don't know, 14, I think, 15. Yeah, I'm 14. I remember I talked about a story in teen leadership back in the 8th grade. And it was a real screwy story. It was set in Japan, dealt with a lot of Japanese names, and it's about the Sword and the Claw was the name about it. The Claw were technically a band of ninjas who attacked the town, and the Sword was actually a school of students who are being trained by a master who dies during an attack of the town. So, an American who had studied under the master of all his time in Japan comes to Rocco, comes to, and he didn't have any other name, just Rocco. Rocco comes to Japan upon hearing about the teacher's death. He was the best student they had, so students train underneath him. And I never was able to finish it. But, it's stuff like that at that time of my life I was interested in. Seagram's ginger ale. Best kind out there. Canada Dry is pretty good too, and all ginger ales are good. I say that Canada Dry is probably the best. Um, actually, Seagram's is the best. Then Canada Dry, then Schweppes. So you guys are looking for it. But as I said, my main stories involve mystery. I have a character. His name is Tracer Bullet. He is in the 40s. He's a retired. Well, he was actually fired off the police force in New York. Although the way he will tell you the story is he quit. But I'm the author, so I know the real story. He moves from New York to LA, sets up offices of Private Eye. This is all in the 40s, so everything is pretty much old school. You want a really good idea of what that might have been like, I suggest you go play LA Noire on the PS4 or even the PS3. Guarantee you'll see what New York used to be like. I mean, LA used to be like, sorry, LA. That's kind of how I got the idea to play in that game. Originally, he was from LA to New York, but the first story he's protecting a Hollywood starlet, so, well, actually a movie starlet whose name is ironically Hollywood. So, he goes, so, him moving to LA makes a bit more sense than her traveling up to New York to shoot a movie. In the 40s, LA made a lot of movies. A lot, from what my dad tells me. And you meet other stories other characters in the stories, like there's his former partner Renee Montoya, who comes to help out from time to time. There's his young partner Johnny, who grows up through the stories. Johnny, however, does pass away in later years, and I'm still considering whether Renee comes back to be his full-time partner or somebody else steps up. There's other people too. There's Two Gun Tex. There's Steven Studebaker and Stanley Stationway and Sig Butts. Some of these names are just out there, but there's these people. Okay, now you want to come to a more crime type of private eye in a more modern era. You're going to look at Mark Collins. Mark Collins was I also got to admit, Tracer was also a Marine. He was in the Marine Corps. He made corporal. No, he made sergeant right before he got out. Mark Collins, though, he doesn't have any police training or military background. As a matter of fact, he actually studied private investigation in college. So he's more of a newer age. He's got cell phones and computers, but he does a lot of legwork, like a detective should. And most of my stories are about private detectives, since I don't like writing about cops or FBI or nothing like that. So Tracer is a private eye, and so is Mark Collins. Now, recently, I just made up another character. He's a cop turned private eye, much like Tracer, except that this is a newer age, and he's Chinese. His name is Detective Joseph, or Joe Wu. But Joe Wu is different. He studies in the paranormal and supernatural. Most of his cases are Scooby-Doo like. It's some guy in a mask or some idiot using something that's not real. Some legend they heard of. Joe, on the other hand, is very skeptical about the cases that he takes, being that most of them turn out like, an old Scooby-Doo mystery, and the craft gives, whoever, the janitor, the butler, whoever it might have been. But there have been some cases in his time that he speaks about that were real. So there's the other detective. His stories are a work in progress. The Detective Wu, The House That Laughs is one. Tracer Bullet in The Hollywood Murders. Mark Collins, Don't Come My Way, and that's pretty much it. Now, I know a lot of you have noticed that I said the name Renee. Her last name is Montoya. I didn't even know there was a Renee Montoya in the Batman comics until I started reading them. I just didn't know. So, if some of you read, there's also a Renee Montoya series, but she is a cop though, and it's a newer age too. But that's up and coming later on. She'll be like an undercover informant type. She'll be a cop who quit, or she'll be a cop who was fired. But just like Tracer, she'll tell you that she quit, but she was fired. And she becomes an undercover informant. She can get in and do things a civilian can do that a cop would be prohibited from doing. That's what private eyes were used for in the past as well. A cop could only go so far as a private eye can go a bit further. My appreciation for mystery stories comes from an author who passed away in 2010, Robert B. Parker. He wrote the Spencer series that spawned the TV show, Spencer for Hire. He wrote the Jesse Stone novels that inspired the Jesse Stone movies featuring Tom Selleck. He wrote the Sonny Randall novels. He wrote, trying to think of what else. Oh, the Virgil Cole and Everett Hitch novels. He's the one that wrote Appaloosa. His book is what spawned the movie Appaloosa, so it's based off his book. And there were other Virgil Cole and Everett Hitch novels that happened after Appaloosa. Appaloosa is the first one, then you got others that come. So those ones you kind of have to read in order to catch up. Because if you skip one, you might hear about something that you don't remember happening in Appaloosa. Because it didn't happen in Appaloosa. Any of his other novels you can read. He's got other novels that are out there that aren't based off those characters, but they were all mystery. A lot of Parker's life is in the novels. Spencer and his girlfriend Susan Silverman don't live together, but they're in love. Later on in years, Parker's wife and him, he lived upstairs or she lived downstairs. They didn't live together. There's some characters in his books who are homosexual. Both his sons are homosexual. Also, you'll also notice that Spencer does not have a first name. He is just called Spencer or Mr. Spencer. Spencer was to have a first name, Daniel Spencer, after Parker's son Daniel, but Parker didn't want to show favoritism over one of his sons. As a result, the character never had a first name. But he's the one who actually really got me into writing, and Spencer is a private detective. Jesse Stone is the chief of police. Sonny Randall, she's a woman who is a private detective. And Virgil Cole and Everett Hitch, at some point they were lawmen, and then they were just vigilante, and it's really hard to discuss because you'd have to read it to understand why they're not lawmen anymore. But yeah, there's something you probably didn't know about me. I don't know if I'll ever be able to get something published. I mean, if I did, I'd have to probably pay for it to be published, like my friend in Arizona, Nancy, did. I haven't done a whole lot of work on the novels as of lately, because of other personal reasons, but yeah, I'll keep you guys updated. Maybe I might, take one of my old phones I got and read off of it what I have. But yeah, there's a little bit about me. So keep on the lookout for books written by Brandon B. Miller. And who knows what'll happen. Alright, guys. I hope y'all enjoyed learning that. There'll be some more stuff about me coming out later. But until then, stay greasy cats. Stay sexy chicks. Be cool. Keep it rockabilly. Rebel Greaser over and out.